In this exercise, we're going to go ahead and prepare our pictograph for inclusion in the larger island illustration. I've saved my progress as finalpictograph.ai, and the first thing I want to do is get rid of these darn horizontal blue lines that represent the value axis tick marks. So my graph has already been messed up by Illustrator's various automated changes, so I might as well really get rid of those tick marks by clicking anywhere on the graph to select it with my black arrow tool, and then I'm going to double-click on the column graph tool or any of the graphing tools down here in the toolbox. And I'm going to switch from graph options here in the graph type dialog box to value axis, and I'm going to go ahead and set length to none. And that will just make those things go away for once and for all. Click OK. And now at least they're gone. They're not going to come back. That's good news. Now, assuming that that was the last change I want to make, and you might want to just take a look at your graph if you're working along with me, make sure you don't have any typos over here in the legend, that things really do say peaceful, joyful, and living in harmony with nature. Everything looks good to me. So once you've established that your graph is good to go, then let's go ahead and apply some manual design changes. I'm going to grab my group selection tool and click off of the graph to deselect it. And what I want to do at this point is select each and every one of the hummingbirds. This is a manual process, so what you've got to do is click and shift-click on the outlines for each one of the hummingbirds. So I'll click on the first one, shift-click on this guy, shift-click here, shift-click several more times, as you can see. So it's going to require a little bit of manual shift-clicking inside of the illustration. Go ahead and grab the birds inside of the legend as well. And then once you've selected every single bird, like so, then what I'd like you to do is zoom in on some group of birds here inside of the column graph so that you can see how they interact with their columns, and press Ctrl-H, Command-H on the Mac to hide the selection edges. Then go to the Effect menu, choose Distort and Transform, and choose the Transform command, or if you loaded D keys, you've got a keyboard shortcut of Ctrl-E, Command-E on the Mac. Now set both of the scale values, both horizontal and vertical, to 150% and turn on the Preview checkbox. And by the way, you should have that center reference point selected. But also, I seem to have a little bit of a problem. There's this little gap right here between the beak and the top of the gradient, and I expected that, and we can solve that problem lickety-split. The bigger problem, though, is that the beak of the orange bird is hidden by the blue graph here. And I really want the wings of the orange birds to be hidden because otherwise they get all over the green birds. And so in other words, I've got that one checkbox deselected so that the final column is in front as opposed to the first column being in front. So I've got to cancel out of here. All that work I did selecting those birds is for naught. I'm going to have to press Ctrl-H so I can see what's selected. Go ahead and switch to the black arrow tool by pressing the V key. Click off the graph, click on it again to select the entire darn thing. And then drop down here to the column graph tool, double click on it to bring up the graph type dialog box. I was just here. If I had only remembered that we've got to turn on first column in front, that checkbox needs to be on. Now click OK. That should take care of the problem. So now the green bird is in front and the blue bird is at the back. I'll go ahead and switch back to my group selection tool. Click off the graph to deselect it. Go ahead and click on a bird, shift-click on all the other birds in order to select them as well. I apologize from the bottom of my heart for this repetition of work. But it is valuable to see what kind of mistakes you can make as you're trying to build these graphs. So having done that, I'll go ahead and zoom in once again on this collection of birds here. Press Ctrl-H to hide the selection outlines. Go up to the Effect menu, choose Distort Transform, choose the Transform command. Ctrl-E or Command-E if you got it. Brings up the Transform Effect dialog box. Change both the horizontal and vertical scale values to 150%. Turn on the Preview checkbox. This is the way things are supposed to look, with the orange bird in back of the green birds. And when you look at the different parts of the graph, it'll make a lot of sense. Because otherwise the tips of the orange bird's wings would intersect with the green bird's and it looks just terrible. Now then, I need to bring the beaks down, and I'm going to do that by changing the vertical move value to 2 and pressing the Tab key, and you can see that goes ahead and moves the birds into place. Click OK. Oh my gosh, now go ahead and zoom out. Now we do still have some problems where the legend is concerned. Press Ctrl-H or Command-H on the Mac to bring back those selection edges. And let's go ahead with the group selection tool and marquee all of this text, peaceful, joyful, and living in harmony. And I want you to drag it down like so that it's just a little below the bottom of the tail feathers. And we have a decent amount of room over here on the right-hand side. And that's looking pretty good to me. I would also make one more change. I'd press the T key in order to get the type tool. click in front of with, press backspace to get rid of that space there, and press the return key or the enter key here on the PC in order to add a carriage return and knock with nature onto another line. Then go ahead and select that black arrow tool, click off the graph to deselect it, and we end up with this result here. Now, all of those changes should remain intact as long as we don't apply any more parametric modifications. No more adjustments, that is to say, with the type command or the data command or the column command. And that is true for us. We are done. We are ready to take this graph and introduce it into its new home, and that is exactly what we will do in the next and final exercise.